What about your personal battery and solar journey, Carlos? How's that been?
It's been like quite a few people. I started off just putting in solar, just the panels on the roof. So I've got 20 panels on the roof, got about 7 kilowatts of panels on the roof with just like a 5 kilowatt inverter is kind of what I started off with. Then
please contribute. It really helps my independent, honest journalism.
Went through a few iterations and upgraded essentially to a 10 kilowatt inverter, put a single 10 kilowatt hour battery in. And then, I've been a customer with Amber for maybe nearly 2 years now. So I then kind of, once I was on Amber, like a lot of Amber customers, I was kind of like, this is great. I made, back in May 2024, I made $150 in a single day from just my 10 kilowatt hour battery. And I'm like, well, if I can do that from one, what can I do for two? So earlier this year, I put the second battery on. So it just kind of ties in with the setup that I've got. It's been
solar edge, inverter, and batteries.
So each battery is 10 kilowatts. I've got a 10 kilowatt inverter. I've got the little optimizers up on the roof, so I can kind of monitor each panel down at the panel level. And then in 2022, we invested in an EV, which is very exciting, which has meant I can do a fair chunk of my charging just during the day from the solar. Through the Amber app, I can actually control the excess solar and ties in with the charging for the car. So I can literally charge my car for free, which is great.
Do you ever get paid to charge your car? Rarely, I guess.
Rarely here. More so, South Australia that's more common, where kind of wholesale buy prices can go below zero. They do go a little bit below zero in New South Wales, but not quite as much. And then, I've got a few kind of smart switches inside, so I can kind of turn on or schedule heating and towel rails and that type of thing, within the Solar Edge system, which is quite cool. And the setup, I guess, in terms of cost, it's kind of hard because it's been a bit of a staged journey. My initial setup was probably something around about kind of $6,000 or $7,000. I think back then it was around about $1,000 a kilowatt installed for just the solar, and then the battery is probably around about kind of $7,000 each installed. So it's kind of, I guess overall we're probably looking at kind of 7, 14, 21, maybe around 21 or 22 grand installed. I didn't manage to take advantage of the federal government rebate, but maybe I'll get a third battery and stick it on and make even more money. So that's been kind of our experience. And I guess overall, so we're a family of 4. I'm lucky that I'm able to work from home some days. We have gas, hot water, but everything else is kind of pretty well electric in the house. My current position on my bill is I'm around about $540 in credit. So all of my electricity is paid for, and I've got a credit sitting there that technically I could cash out whenever I want, but for some reason we like to just keep it in the little nest egg there for a rainy day. And look, it's not necessarily been plain sailing. Sometimes I've had a few kind of glitches with the system, and so either we needed to swap something out, or I've changed some inverters around to be able to upgrade the system. And so in those instances, the automation hasn't necessarily been working. Sometimes, I'm kind of pulling from wholesale when a price spike is happening. My battery's not kind of working properly. This is normal for a solar system. It doesn't necessarily just keep working seamlessly every single day. And I guess then,
do you want to show us the app, Carlos? Because that not everyone, like, once it's you can do set and forget if your system is super lit and you're quite regular and you just want to set and forget. But what if you want to all the settings? Like, what's the time? It's almost midday. What's the sort of Amber thing now?
So at the moment it's sitting at live price is 8 cents. The feed-in tariff is -3, and then I can kind of out to see kind of the upcoming feed-in tariff is going to be in here, which you can't really see that well on there. But it's
show it on screen a bit more detail.
So you get an idea of what the live price is, and then we kind of put together a bit of a plan in terms of specifically for my site, like we talked about, in terms of what the solar's predicted to be. If the solar's not going to be very good that day and the prices are going to jump up around 3 or 4 o'clock, Amber will automatically charge the batteries to make sure they're full, to make sure you're covered through a higher price spike, or if there's going to be a big price spike coming through. Even if you're a 4 kilowatt system, your solar's not necessarily pumping out enough to fill up. If you've got a 30 or a 40 kilowatt battery, Amber will still charge your batteries for you in the middle of the day from renewables when the prices are cheap. And you've got a nice full battery then to cover you through the afternoon and the evening, and hopefully have some excess capacity in the back for wholesale trading.
Okay. And what do the bills look like? They're monthly, not quarterly?
Correct. So you can kind of see on here bills. So my current position, I'm $513 in credit. You can see it's kind of, obviously we're winter at the moment, so my loads are a little bit heavier kind of solar generation time. So, I'm kind of $52, $100, $126. And then back in January, I was minus 47, minus 42, minus 82. So it's kind of up
it's
and
seasonal.
down. Yeah. Seasonal. My best month was minus $211 in a single month. So yeah, it's kind of up and down. And we can kind of show you what a bill looks like in there. So it's slightly different to a normal bill. Probably can't see that well.
We'll show a more detailed screen.
But essentially it has kind of like a simplified version with your charges and your credits in kind of like a summary. Then it goes into a little bit more detail in terms of kind of like what your usage fees are. It's buy price for the month, etc. And we still obviously have network fees, metering fees, but we have a few more line items in there that you don't normally see, for example, in a what's called a standard retailer bill. That's still on the bill, but they kind of just bundle it all up. And then the next page is usually just a summary of your credits, and then some kind of standard usage information in there as well. But I guess the cool thing really is you can, within your usage profile, you can kind of jump into your usage costs and you can kind of view reports. So in here you can kind of see, and I guess this is what a lot of people show sometimes in social media and videos, etc. So the average feed in for this week is 12.6 cents a kilowatt hour. My 3-month average is 68.9, and my 12 is 26 cents a kilowatt hour. And then people are like, oh, hang on a minute, but how much is your buy price? And then my average price for this week is 21.9. My 3-month average is 26.6, and my 12-month average is 24.3. And that's a pretty good rate compared to, I still a little bit, in spite of the fact I work for Amber. And that's still a pretty good rate.
Yeah, definitely. Like to give an example, I also live in the same sort of vague neighborhood, and I think I'm on time of use. So off peak is about 20 cents, and daily grid sort of supplier fee is actually quite big now. It's about $1.60, and the peak is now, but I think it's over 40 cents now. So yeah, it is full, but not great, and it keeps rising. So yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people are looking for alternatives, and you're looking at a battery, and over the years the feed-in tariffs gradually been coming down. Electricity still up. Just solar, and maybe had a zero 3 or 4 years ago, and now solar again. What do I need to do? How should I solve that? And for a lot of people, it's trees, and then it's kind of looking to optimize and see where they can make the most gains. And for a lot of customers, that's happens to be with Amber, which is good.
And it's a phrase that I've heard recently called Amber tourist, which is someone was telling me that they use Amber for about 9 or 10 months a year, but they have solar and they have a small but okay battery, but they have heaps of shade on their roof during winter from the trees in their yard. So they generate hardly any solar, and they're using lots of heating in the house. So what they mean by tourist is they leave Amber for winter, and then they come back at like the end of August, early September. And that way they're not stressing about having to have huge bills during winter where they can't control the situation, because trees are awesome. We love them. And we're not going to just to reduce the power bill a little bit. And they obviously help in summer too. And they help all the native creatures. So yeah, that is an option. You don't need to stay all year. Obviously, Amber wishes you stayed all year. But you can leave if there's a particular few months of the year where you're heavily shaded or have other issues. It's hard to control.
Like we talked about a little bit, we've got that safety net for all of our customers. So we don't make any money on how many kilowatt hours Amber sells to the customer. The only money we make is a subscription fee, which is $25 a month. But we do have a safety net, and it comes through on everyone's bills, whereby I think at the moment it's 1.65 cents a kilowatt hour that you pay, and kind of goes
like
into
insurance.
it goes into a kitty. It's a safety net. So if something does go wrong, if your system goes offline, or something's not working properly, or something fails, and it's mainly there for a lot of our customers who don't have solar, don't have battery, and you can get access to feed-in tariffs up to $19 a kilowatt hour, which is great if you're able to send that to the grid and take advantage of that. But if you're exposed to that, and you're paying $19 or $20 a kilowatt hour, that can make for a very expensive day and a very expensive bill. So we have that safety net, that insurance there, so that if you go above what's called the DMO, or the default market offer, that essentially will kind of kick in automatically at the end of the quarter if you're paying above a certain rate.
On average.
On average across the 90-day period, we'll basically reimburse you to bring you back in line with that rate. So yes, you're exposed, but we also have a safety net for all of our customers.
As an example, Carlos lives in the same sort of wholesale distributor area, Ausgrid, as I do. It's not exact, but I think vaguely the Ausgrid safety net price at the moment is about 38 cents per kilowatt hour. So if, for argument's sake, your internet went down, like my HFC NBN was down for the best part of 10 days recently, and your Amber couldn't communicate with all your gear, and you were paying, not able to control discharge usage properly, then at the end of that month, it would be averaged out your kilowatt hour cost with Amber, and if it was above 38 cents on average, then it would be reduced to 38 cents, basically. Yeah, or whatever the price is. It's going to be different, the cap, in each different part of the grid operator area that Amber works in, different regions, but it's not going to be like $5 or something. Yeah, it's going to be the sort of maximum government regulated price. Yeah. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. It really helps me make more videos like this for you. And have a look at the suggested videos up above. I'm pretty sure you'll like those as well. Thanks, and see you later.